Hey everyone, in this video, we'll set up the animations that we need. We'll look at a concept called humanoid retargeting in Unity, which will allow us to reuse the same animation on multiple models. So first, let's download the animations that we need. So I'll be downloading all the animations from Mixamo, the same place from which we downloaded our character. So here you also have animations. So if you click on this animations tab, you can browse all the animations available in Mixamo. All right. And by the way, before you start selecting and downloading the animations, make sure to select the character that you downloaded in the previous video. So in my case, the character is Erika. Alright, so I'll select the character and click on use this character. Alright, so make sure to do this before you start downloading the animations. This is important because when you download the animations, Mixamo will automatically make it compatible with the character that you selected. Alright, so now let's look at the animations that we need. So first, we need an idle animation. So here I'm going to search for idle. So you have lots of variations. I'll just go with a simple idle like this one. All right. And by the way, you have few settings over here. You can play with it if you want to modify the animations. So here for this animation, the hand of the character is really close to the body. So if you want to have more space between the hand and the body, then we can increase the character arm space. So let me increase it to something like 68. All right, that looks better. So I'll go ahead and download this animation. So while downloading, you have few settings over here. So for the format, make sure to select FBX for Unity, just like we did for the character. And then you can download it with the skin or without the skin. So if you select with skin, then it'll also download the character that we selected. So in our case, we have already downloaded the character, so we don't want to download that again. So I'll set it to without skin. All right. And then for the frames per second, leave it at 30 and leave the keyframe reduction at none. All right, so make sure these settings are right and then click on the download button to download the animation as an FBX file. So I'll just name this idle and save it. Okay, so next we need a walking animation. So let me search for walking. And again, we have lots of variations. Let me try this one. All right, this one looks okay. So for the walking animation, make sure to check the in place checkbox. All right, so once we check that, the character will only play the animation. She won't actually move while playing the walking animation. All right, so in our game, for character movement, we don't want animation to control the motion of our character. We want our code to control it, right? We wrote the code for it in the previous video. So be sure to check the in place checkbox to remove any motion in the character. All right, so now I'll go ahead and download it. I'll use the same settings as before. So let me just name this one walk. And finally, we need an animation for running. So let me just search for run. Okay, I'll just go with this one. Again, we have to check the in place checkbox to make sure that we don't have any motion with the animation. All right, so now I'll go ahead and download this. So I'll call this one run. All right, so now we have the animations. So let's go ahead and import them to Unity. So in Unity, in the assets folder, I'll create a new folder called animations. and then I'll import the 3 animations that we downloaded right now. Okay, so now you can check if an animation is working by selecting the animation and then selecting the animation tab, and at the bottom you should be able to preview the animation. But right now it says we don't have a model and we have to drag a model to this preview area. So let's go ahead and drag our model into the preview area of the animation. All right, so now if we press the play button, you can see that the animation is working on our model. All right, but the reason why this animation worked with this model by default is because Mixamo made this animation compatible with our character, since that was the character that we selected in Mixamo, right? So the problem is, if we bring in another model to our project, the animations might not work on them. So let me show you by importing another model. All right, so this is another character model that I downloaded from Mixamo. So let me drag him to the inspector and I'll check if the animations are working on this model. Okay, so if I drag this model onto the preview of the animation, you can see that when I press the play button, the animation is not playing on the character. So these animations won't work on other characters. So that's a problem. We don't want to download separate animations for separate models. We want to be able to reuse the same animations. Luckily, Unity has an easy solution for this. So before we look at the solution, let's look at why the animation is not working on different models in the first place. So if you expand the game object of our character model, you can see that it has bones under it. All right, so it has bones for all the parts in its body. And now if you look at the second character, it also has bones, but the problem is the names of these bones are different, right? So usually the models that are created by different artists will have different bone names, but the way animation works is by modifying the position and rotation of these bones. So if you expand the walk animation, you can see the animation clip over here, and if you double click on it, it'll open the animation clip in the animation window. So here you can see what this animation is doing. This animation clip is modifying the position and rotation of the bones of the character, and that's how it's achieving the animation, right? And here you can see that this animation uses the bone names of this character, right? The bone names of the Wipeout character is different, and that's why the animation is not working on the Wipeout character. So if you rename all the bones of the Wipeout character and make it as same as this character, then the animation will also work on the Wipeout character. But that solution is really tedious, right? We have lots of bones for a character, and renaming each and every one of it is really hard. So the good thing is Unity provides us with a solution in which we can solve this with just few clicks. So the solution is humanoid retargeting. So basically what we'll do is we'll map the bones of all the characters to a standard set of bones that Unity can understand. All right. So we'll do that for all the characters and all the animations. And once that's done, the animations will work with all our characters. All right. So let me show you how to do humanoid retargeting. So for this, first we have to select the character, and then you have to go to the Rig tab, and in here you have to change the animation type from generic to humanoid. All right. So this works by creating an avatar. Avatar is a thing that maps the bones of a character to the standard set of bones. So in the avatar definition, we have to select create from this model, and then all you have to do is hit apply. All right. So you can see the tick mark over here. So that means Unity was successfully able to map all the bones. In case Unity was not able to map it automatically, then you'll have to click on the configure button, and this will show you all the mappings that were done by Unity. All right, you can see that over here. So if some bones are missing from the mapping, then you'll have to manually drag and drop it over here. All right, so I'll click on the done button to go out of the avatar, and you can also see the avatar over here. So this is my character, and inside it we have the avatar now. All right, so now we should also change all our animations to humanoid. So let's go ahead and do that. So first let me just select the walk animation, and in the rig tab I'll change this to humanoid. And then for the avatar definition, we have to select copy from avatar in the case of animations. And then we have to select the avatar that we created earlier. All right, so let me go ahead and assign that avatar. And now we just have to hit apply. All right, so we have to do this for all the animations. We have to make them humanoid. So let me select the other two animations and also make them a humanoid animation. All right. So now the animation should work on our Erika character. All right. And then it'll also work on the Vibot character if we turn it into a humanoid. So let's go ahead and do that. So in the rig tab, I'll change it to humanoid. And since this is a model, I'll select create from this model for the avatar definition. And then I'll hit apply. All right. So it was successfully able to create the avatar and map the bones. So now the animations should also work on the Vibot character. So let's go to the animation tab and preview the animation on the Vibot character. Okay, so the animation is working fine. So that's really easy to set up. All you have to do is just change your characters and animations to humanoid when you import them to your project. So next, if we preview our animations, you'll see that we have a slight problem. Let me just make this big so that you can get a better view. All right. So here at the bottom of the player's feet, you can see a circle and the circle is moving, right? So if the circle is moving, that means the animation has some kind of motion in it. But in our case, we don't want to use the motion of the animation. We want the character movement to be controlled from the code completely. So we have to get rid of this motion. And by the way, if we drag our other character, the main character that we are going to use, so here also you can see the circle is moving. So this motion is called root motion. It's really useful in some cases. For example, for an attack animation where the character is jumping and swinging the sword, we could move the character from the animation itself instead of moving it from the code. But in the case of idle, walk, and run animations, we don't want to use root motion. We want the motion to be controlled from the code itself. All right. So the problem is when we turn our character into a humanoid character, it'll automatically set up the root motion. So that's what's causing this motion in the animation. All right. So we can easily fix this by using these three options. So here for the root transform rotation, root transform position Y, and root transform position exit, we should change all of them to original. All right. All of them should be original. And then we should also select bake into pose for all of them. All right. So now you can see that the circle is not moving anymore. It's stationary. So these options are really useful. We'll explore these options more in the future when we implement attack animations. But for now, just keep in mind that if we don't want to use root motion, then check bake into pose for all three of these, and then also change their based upon to original. All right. So I'll go ahead and hit apply. So now the circle is stationary. So now let's go ahead and do this for the other animations also. Unfortunately, we can't do this for multiple animations at once by multi-selecting them. So we'll have to do it one by one. So first let me do it for the run animation. All right. So I'll check bake into pose and change the based upon to original for all three root transforms. All right. And then I'll hit apply. And by the way, we also want these animations to loop. So let me also select loop time and loop pose to loop these animations while we are here. All right. And now let me hit apply. So now let me do the same for the idle animation. All right. And let me also check loop time and loop pose so that the animation will loop. All right. And finally, let me also turn the loop time and loop pose for the walk animation. So now we are done with the setup of our animations. So next we can use these to animate our character when moving.